Hopefully you guys enjoyed that cinematic intro. In this video, I'm gonna tell you what the hell that was, why did I do it, and I'm gonna walk you through my editing process. But before we get into that, my name is Sean. This is my tech channel where I do review, unboxing, and tutorials. So if you like content like this, you might want to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification, and by the way, make sure you click the bell notification to all, because that's the only way you'll be notified for all my videos. So the cinematic intro you guys just watched, that was my entry for a sound effect contest. The contest is hosted by a company called Artlist.io. So the contest was very, very simple. You have to create a 45-second to 1 minute sequence and only use Artlist's library of music and sound effect to bring that sequence to life. I didn't have time to go ahead actually trying to shoot an entire project myself. Luckily in the rules they said you can use whatever you want, including stock footage. So then I went and used another service that I have subscribed to. It's called STORYBLOCKS, and you can download high quality 4K footages of whatever you need, which made it fairly easy for me. But here's the problem I had. I could go ahead, download a bunch of different sequences, but because I'm not the one shooting the footage, it could be difficult to find all the clips to be able to match them exactly with the same actors or actresses to make sense of a 45-second to 1 minute cinematic sequence. So the idea I had was there's this guy in his office. As he's working, he basically falls asleep and he's having this nightmare or this really spooky dream. And then that's how I thought in my mind I could get away with having all these disjointed like random images that are coming up. So I went ahead, downloaded a bunch of different footage, but before I started cutting all my sequences together, I needed to find a background music first because I wanted to make sure all my cuts were somewhat on a beat of the music to kind of have it make sense a little bit. So this is the background music I selected. So first I want to go ahead show you that. So if you guys notice, it goes da 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 da. After the fourth loop, I had all my cuts, so then I had to go back and make some subtle changes to trying to give the sequence a little bit better feeling of this dream that I wanted. For example, this first footage, I had a 10% zoom. And then when you get to the second footage, original footage, it looks like this. It's nice, but it's too sharp. So I went ahead and added a fog asset into that. And I put it at 25% opacity with a screen blend mode. And this is what it looks like with the fog. Same thing in the next footage. I added a little bit of a zoom from the beginning to the end of the clip. And I added this fog element. The next footage of this kind of like witch walking. So this is the original footage. Watch. So it's a little bit too fast, it's too stable. So I did a few things on that. I added a rotation animation, I added a zoom animation, so then the camera kind of like moves like this. And then I also added some ember and some fog elements. So this is the original footage. And then here's slowed down with some dust, with some rotation. Also had to slow down the dust particle to kind of match the movement of the witch. Next footage, it was really nice by itself and I didn't really do a whole lot to it. And then slight zoom animation or transition on the wolf. This is one of my favorite shots. So this by itself looked beautiful. I didn't do a whole lot to it. This one I did the same thing. I added a little bit of a zoom and rotation animation. And then same thing with the footage of the little girl. Again, a little bit of a zoom and animation. With this one, I added a little bit of a dust particle to this footage and a little bit more dust particle to this one, and then some color correcting. This footage was a little bit too sharp, so I added a little bit more blur to it, a little bit more dust. And to this footage, a little bit more dust and smoke and rotation. And then I think we get to the footage of the girl screaming. This one, so the original footage is really zoomed out and I went ahead, cut in to kind of like a super close up. And then at this point, I faded the music totally to 0 because I wanted to go ahead now highlight the background music and the ambient sounds in the office of people talking, the phone ringing, keyboards, and things like that. Now let's try to talk about some sound effect layers that I added to that. Starting with the bass kind of like ambient sound that I wanted to add, and this is what I came up with. Now let's try to get to what are some of the things I added. So my goal was every sequence, when it will change, to go ahead, start with some really loud note of some kind to kind of like shows and emphasize the presence of that new sequence. So for example, for this one, I think this is what I selected. But then some of the other things I added, one is this one. So I added a little bit more wind chime. Then I have this sound to emphasize the spookiness. Right? And then this sound. Did you catch all that when first you watched this? So I'm gonna turn everything on real quick and just listen to the first clip. So this first, what is this, 5 second, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers of audio. What do you think? So this is kind of like my big bang for this sequence. And then finally, I kind of use this as the transition into the next clip. And then getting into the third clip, again, my big bang is this clip right here. So it's a single string note. This was one of my favorite scenes. I wanted to make sure I really emphasize a little bit of a more spookiness into this. So there is a lot of whispers and winds and different layers that are implemented. And then some of it transitions from the last clip to this one. But first, let me show you the big bang for this clip. Again, just a single piano note to try to emphasize. And then here's I have the footstep of the witch walking. And listen to this one more time. The next clip, this was the Big Bang. Now here's what I want to show you what I did with the lightning. So this is, you can kind of see the main lightning is coming up right here, right? That's where I dropped this. But right here, if you see in the background, you kind of see a couple more flashes, but they seem a little bit more in a distant background. So I dropped 2 more kind of like faint thunder right here. Listen. Now when you listen it all together. And this is one of my favorite footage. This footage, again, is one of my favorite ones. I think it's really, really spooky. So first thing, I added this footstep. I have this big bang right here to kind of get a little bit of an attention. And then I have this digital glitch sound. And the final stretch. And then with the clock, I put this kind of like a spooky clock tick-tock, but also matched it with a heartbeat. So take a listen. So this is the heartbeat, and you don't even hear the heartbeat when you're listening or watching the clip, but it's there, and I think it adds a very interesting dimension to that. Now let's try to listen to this with the clock's tick-tock. And then the guy's coming down here. I have the footstep. This is my favorite sound. It says, "We're coming for you." And I had that transition go to the next clip right before the girl starts screaming. Just a little bit of a kind of like a drone sound in the background. And then the spooky scream. So I'm gonna let you listen to the scream first by itself. So I had to listen for a lot of different scream sound that they had to try to find one that kind of like matched what this girl was doing. I had to stretch it a little bit to make it last a little bit longer, maintain the pitch. So some of these I had to do individual edits to get a match what I needed. And then the last thing was, this is the final moment and I want to bring to like a maximum climax. So I wanted to add a riser towards the end. And this is the riser I picked. I'm gonna play the riser by itself. This is the riser with the scream. Now, when we get to the office, so this is the office background right here. So people are walking in the background, can hear the phone ringing. And I went ahead, added a couple of more phone ringing as well, I think, right here. And then at the end, when this guy is kind of like grabbing his face, I have this very subtle sigh. And that concludes the entire edit. I'm gonna go ahead, play the video for you one more time. Let me know what you guys think. And if you guys wanna support me, there is no voting required. They have their own judges. At a minimum, I just ask you to give this video a like if you found this entertaining or useful, and drop a comment down below. Let me know what else would you have done with this thing. I will put a link to Storyblocks and Artlist down below if you guys want to check them out. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.